Alrighty, the time is 12 o'clock. Are we? Okay, yes,
Mine's on.
the time is 12 o'clock. We will get this meeting started.
We're not running. There we go. Okay.
The time is 12 o'clock. Alrighty, the time is 12 o'clock. Okay.
Let her rip it, fella.
Okay, so I am welcome to the meeting of the Planning and Zoning, City Council Planning and Zoning Committee. Myself, the chair, Brian Ballman from Ward 5. I will just let the other members introduce themselves, but go from there.
Dennis Hellman, Second Ward.
Grant Russell at large.
Dan DeArmond, 4th Ward.
Jim Niemeyer, 6th Ward.
Okay, we will get this meeting going. We will start with cannabis dispensary zoning.
This morning, the overlay district was presented to the Planning Commission. Mr. Russell was also in attendance, answering a few questions and providing some insight. After about 20 minutes of discussion, there was no public comment other than one gentleman who came up and wanted to clarify if this was for if this was just for creating the district or there was a site chosen. And we explained to him it was just for the overall district. It did pass, I believe unanimously, recommendation to approve. Really the first kind of 15 minutes was kind of catching them up on the work that this group has done, explaining why we're doing an overlay district. And then there are some map edits that will be needed to make. There's, I believe, a few of these parcels here are zoned M2. This didn't come up in Planning Commission, but I did remove this parcel, and this parcel because they're within 500 feet of the YMCA. I was contacted, and they may be having daycare there in the future. So I thought, while and those are not likely sites anyways, so
Right, yeah.
I thought removing those would not be an issue. Additionally, at County Road 99, this sliver of this parcel is zoned M2, and honestly, I'm not a huge fan of this one anyway, so I'm more than happy. We're going to remove this parcel, and the district will be shaped like this.
Oh, so it's all east of 75. then,
It will
just-
be all east of 75
Okay.
for County Road 99. And then no changes here on Area 3. And then Area 4, Main Cross Street. The Findlay Digital Academy is located in that office building. And so I'm going to make adjustments to the map. It may remove, I will do a 500-foot buffer and adjust it accordingly. But it probably will most likely remove everything on the south side. I guess the question is, do we want to keep this?
What is that?
It's the,
Oh, the moose. Oh.
no, the moose is right here.
This
Oh.
is
Oh, that's Blanchard Valley.
is that Frickers?
No, that's the former. That's the former.
Okay.
The Bell's
Okay.
Marathon gas station.
Okay.
Bill Knapp's
Okay.
on the north side.
Oh.
That's Bill the former Knapp's and the car wash, I Yeah. believe.
Well, I would keep what you can,
Yeah.
generally saying. I don't know.
So-
Is that a permanent home, you think, for long-term for Findlay Digital Academy?
It's been there a long time.
Oh, has it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right.
So
All right.
Well, that actually raised a question, and this raises a question that kind of came to mind as we were in the city planning. Is if you mentioned up at County Road 99, like we rezone that property to M2. So let's say we just take the take the thing on the north side where it's now a medical office. What if it gets rezoned offices and institutions? Does that automatically remove it from the map, or are we drawing the map? Are we drawing the maps and saying it's got to be C2, and if the parcel changes from C2 to something else, that change automatically changes these maps, or how does that work?
As it's written, the rezoning of the property would not change the ability to put a cannabis store there. It grants as a conditional use within the district and all the rights of the underlying zoning.
So the district never changes
The
then,
district never changes.
unless we vote to change it, I guess, right? I mean, okay.
And so that's the way it's written. And along those lines, some discussion came up after the meeting. You know, what if a daycare or church, is constructed?
Yeah.
Do you change the boundary to say, no, I wouldn't anticipate changing the boundary, but each time one comes in, we will do a check on the 500-foot distance for the state regulations.
Oh, if a store proposed to put one there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's conditional use, because it would be a conditional use.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So,
It couldn't legally be there anyway.
yeah.
The other thing is,
right.
that's a state statute.
Yeah.
You could see the state conceivably change the distance on that buffer upwards or lower. I mean, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
So if you wrote the maps to say within this area, in C2 stuff within this area, does that mean? Because each change of these boundaries would have to go through a rezone process, correct? So why can't we just write it, the overlay to say it is C2 within these boundaries, so that when or if that goes to OI, it removes it from, it might be within the boundaries, but it isn't C2, so it doesn't count anymore.
We can write it that way. We can write it says, we can write that as a condition, the underlying zoning must be C2.
And then that would not send the map through because we're not changing the boundaries, it wouldn't change, it wouldn't send the map through the zoning process again.
If someone rezoned this to O1 office, and we wrote it as you were saying, I still don't think that changes the boundary.
Correct, but it would prevent.
It would prevent them, yes.
I just like the fact that it's conditional use, and so no matter what happens, it's gonna come back for a review. And if a new school goes in or a nursery goes in, it's gonna
Yes.
get reviewed, and if it's,
Yes.
okay.
And honestly, I don't necessarily trust the state to catch every daycare, nursery, church. I think locally we have a better handle on that.
Right.
So each one that comes in, our office will do a check,
Yeah.
very, thorough check to make sure
Right.
that they're also meeting the standards.
Well, I guess if a person comes in and wants to put a cannabis facility operation in one of those buildings that has been changed, they can't come back and say, well, 10 years ago when you adopted this, it was okay to put one in, correct? Because it will have been changed, I don't know, R1.
It depends, as it's written, as it's written right now, the district boundary, the overlay permits cannabis retail no matter what the underlying zoning is.
Even if the underlying zoning gets changed between now and 3 years?
Yes.
Really?
We can change it, that one of the conditions is it has to be, underlying zoning must be C2.
I would be in favor of that.
Well, that's what I was getting
I
at.
would be in favor of.
I mean, if you change the zoning, you've changed it for a reason.
Sure.
Right.
And I would think that the rules would go with the new zoning classification, and you would not allow a cannabis facility there.
Right.
You can't go back and say, well, yeah, 12 years ago, this was zoned okay.
Well, they could go back and rezone it if they wanted to change the zoning back, so they could put a cannabis, but
Yeah.
they'd have to go through the zoning, so.
Yeah.
It's all right.
But I don't know, I guess I would prefer to see it as what the current zoning is at that time.
I will,
But I don't know what the rest of us.
depending on how you guys vote, I'm prepared to make that change, and it won't be very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, because or use changes over time, and this gives you the flexibility to change it over time.
Yeah.
And then the next time you go through, the next time our code goes through a major review, the maps, the zoning, this overlay could be adjusted with the updated information. And I'm of the opinion, it'll be interesting to see what your 500 feet, not knowing the size of where the digital academy is, if that does clip the corner of the doctor's office, and if that's the case, I don't think that, I'm not nuts about keeping that guy there as just as an island that is only connected by the street.
My guess is this would remain, this would remain, this would remain, and this would remain. That's my
And would it go all the way over to 75 there? I mean, there's that empty lot there. Could
well,
you-
but this is all one lot, and they share a boundary, so it will.
Take that out.
And I
a
would,
lot
ch-
go.
I would change I wouldn't have it follow the road like I did when I first drew that. I would just have it, a boundary around the east side and then a second boundary
right.
around that.
Yeah. Right.
I think I drew it that way just for ease of preparation for the meeting.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
Assuming that we're going to, considering 3 people have expressed support for that change, does this have to go back to city planning?
No. Nope. These are just recommendations.
Yeah.
And we're crafting the legislation for the next meeting.
Okay.
So these changes will all be in
The next,
the next,
yes.
the first legislation that council will see. They won't even know that any of this changed.
Okay. And the other thing that city planning mentioned was they wondered if we had considered a buffer from any residential property, and really thinking about the south side of Tiffin Avenue is where it would really come into play. And I don't believe we ever really considered it. That was just kind of a one member of the planning commission was thinking out loud about that. And I'm just sharing that for where their mindset was. I didn't hear, I think they begrudgingly, I bet if you polled the 5, it would probably be at most one or 2 that would be in favor of doing this without the vote. I mean, I don't think they are really excited about medical or about marijuana dispensaries. But having said that, there was really not a ton of conversation and really no objection to the thought process or the results.
I think they're, having spoken with some of them, I think they're of kind of similar opinions that have been expressed here, in that it's a mid-level retail use. It's not as busy as Cheddar's. It's not as busy as Aldi or Gordon Food Service or a car wash. It's a moderately busy retail use that's fairly unobtrusive.
I can comment on that as well. Some of the residents there that we're speaking of have complained about, like, say, the car wash
Oh, yeah,
with the blowers.
yes.
They've complained about the lighting, the hours of operation. They've complained about the squawk boxes where you go in and order your food, whatever you
Sure.
call the drive-up window type things, that are operating at 10, 11 o'clock at night and yelling into the box, "Give me a large order of fries." You know, that kind of stuff. So they do get a little bit agitated.
Sure. No, we had the car wash do a noise study, and it was very interesting that it was Tiffin Avenue was 80 decibels, and the car wash blowers are 75 decibels. I just found it really interesting that Tiffin Avenue was louder than the car wash.
I'm surprised at that.
I definitely understand, whenever we do have a project on that side, Tiffin in that area, it's always in the back of our mind, hey, those residents are fairly close, and they usually reach out and express their concerns.
Well, as we discussed earlier, I guess if the wording gets changed so that it deals with the underlying zoning as opposed to what it could have been or would have been 10 years ago, I guess I'd be in favor of it,
I would second that.
assuming that's a motion.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second, and would you,
Let's restate that.
yeah, let's restate the motion.
May I suggest,
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
make a motion that includes, making the map alterations as discussed today and adding a portion of the code that addresses the underlying zoning and that it must be C2. I just wanted those two things.
Okay.
Can
So,
you write that down? You get that down, sort of?
so we need underlying zoning within
You okay with that?
overlay district to reflect Z2 or C2 zoning. And then we need, what was the second part?
Modifications to the map. To ensure compliance with current C2 zoning. And state ordinances.
That I was just about to say that.
Or state law, whatever. Cause that'll get, state law will take care of the school,
Okay.
And the
C2 is
In the
just
YMCA.
and the Y, even though yeah. You can write, you can draw those lines wherever you want, so.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second.
You want to read the motion?
Okay, so we recommend that underlying zoning within the overlay districts reflect C2 zoning. Further, we recommend that modifications are made to the maps to ensure compliance with current C2 zoning and state statute.
And thirdly, that we will recommend adoption of the cannabis overlay legislation, or the resulting, whatever. Because we're recommending the council.
Mm-hmm.
accept
And then how about the limitation on number of?
Nope, that's already in. We
Okay,
already
recommend
talked about
adoption
that
of
before.
It's currently written no more than 2 retail facilities within the city of Findlay corporation limit
And that's written where?
in the code.
That's, we've already did that. We did that at a previous meeting.
Yep.
I thought it was interesting.
Okay.
I thought it was interesting, Jacob, I hadn't heard the 1 mile restriction. You can't have 2 of them next to each other. They gotta have a 1 mile, distance. So that almost, about the only one that probably ensures that they're gonna be in different
Separate,
areas.
Yeah.
Cause I don't know that the Tiffin district is a mile long.
Well, what's the distance between Main Cross and Trenton? That's only a mile right there, right? So you,
Depend where it is on,
Depends on where
on,
Yeah.
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 Anyway, all right.
I got a question. Jacob, is that true with other cities as well? That they have to?
Yeah, that's
can't
part
have-
of the revised code. They put that
That's
stipulation in
the
there.
State
State
regulate.
did?
Yeah.
Oh.
And as I kind of explained to Planning Commission, we're in a, it is very nice that the state has a robust set of regulations beyond what the city has. So, I do feel like we're, between billboard advertising, how the stores present themselves, location of the stores, loitering, there's no if there's someone loitering on the site, they will call the police right away. They have secure transfers of product, and they have a lot of protocols from the state that they have to abide by also.
Yeah, no consumption on premise, that was a question that was raised.
No pedaling on the sidewalk?
No. No, and actually, one of the companies will, if and when they come forward, they have a 2-minute PowerPoint that shows, the doors are locked, approach, go in, show your ID to a security guard, you go to a receptionist, and then you wait in the reception area, and you go into another secure room, in which you show your ID, you meet with the vendor,
Oh, wow.
and then you check out at a separate place, and then you leave. So there, it's a robust system that they have. Yes.
You mentioned billboard advertising. So there is, what,
The state has
rules against that?
the state has prohibited billboard advertising. I think,
didn't realize that.
thanks to our neighbors to the north, I
Yeah.
think that got thrown in.
I got a question. Are those security issues that you just articulated, are those true in Michigan as well?
I don't know.
Did they ever resolve the banking issue, like the whole? No, that's, okay, that's still out there.
It's a cash only business.
Pardon me?
It's cash only.
Cash only.
Yeah.
But then how do they get cash into a bank is kind of, but I don't know, so I'm not sure.
They, it's been it sounds like they have a intricate system, and they have partners, and
Okay,
some credit unions will accept it, and
they get some workarounds.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
That's what you said, right, Denny?
I don't know, you bamboozled me into this, but might as well move forward.
bamboozled.
I felt
Who
it
said
going,
that?
I felt it
That was
going in.
Richard Hatch or Cox or whatever,
I felt it going in.
from one of the first survivors.
Oh.
He came back for he won the first Survivor, and then he came back for an all-star thing, and they got rid of him like the first, he was the first one out, and he was like, I've been bamboozled. He was the guy that, he got on the island and he went nude.
that was like 2000. That's like 20-some years ago.
I haven't watched, we used to watch it with the kids, and
So,
You gonna call for a vote, sir?
yeah, I apologize. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries.
Okay.
Next on the agenda, we have our continued discussion on on-site parking requirements for new residential developments.
Grant, as of yesterday, Grant and I at 2:00, we're going to go up to Bowling Green. Bowling Green has removed all parking requirements in terms of number of parking spaces. I think they adopted that about a year ago. So we're going to discuss with them, it'll be nice to hear from them why they went to that
When is your meeting?
at 2:00 today.
Today?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
And Dan, if you want to come along, you're more than welcome. Road trip.
Let me think about it.
But or if anyone would like to come along, but why they went through the process, and how it's been working. They're a college town, so we're a college town, a little smaller degree, but I'd be interested to hear, the duplexes and triplexes around the university, how's that working? And so I think it'll be a good trip and give us some things to think about, and we'll report back to the group what we found out.
Do you guys remember, about a year or two ago, in the 300 block of Lincoln, they combined two lots as like 310 and 313, or 311 and 313, whatever. They combined them. The guy wanted to put a duplex on there, or a triplex,
Right.
and they submitted site plans. I think they went through site plan review. And I just wondered if you guys had a way to be able to easily find that documentation. Not now, but for a future meeting, short of me going through every single agenda and finding it. If
This is one done by Emory Adams grant?
nope, on
No?
Lincoln.
Lincoln's.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lincoln.
Southwest and
Oh, I'm
West
sorry.
Lincoln.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Not the
Yes, we,
Second, third.
that
house
would easily
on the
be able
south
to
side.
be
Okay,
found.
I think that having that specific site plan is relevant to this conversation for a future meeting, mainly because that was one that they went through all these gyrations to, and they never built on it, but they went through all these gyrations to get the parking to work, and the end result was gonna be just a real disaster, screwy looking thing. I think they were gonna take down two houses, but I don't know who
Or
was.
combine them.
No, they were gonna raise two, because remember, they're
And then build
separated.
one.
They were separated by like 2 feet or
Yeah,
something.
A mower.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, so you just want,
And
to continue
I just
the
want the
conversation
we should
after
just,
today's
yeah,
meeting then?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
so, all right, well, I'll make. a
When I
move.
find that, I'll scan it and I'll email it to you if you want to.
It's West Lincoln at like
Southwest,
Southwest Street.
about the third house in, second, third. And I think those properties sold within
Yes.
the past year.
Yeah, those two. Because with a split lot.
Are we talking these
Yep.
two? Okay. What's that address, Jacob?
So the intent there was to tear two houses down, two duplexes, or just two single families?
Single
Two
family.
single families, and then they were gonna cram a
Triplex?
triplex in there, but the way they did it was to, instead of having it fronting Lincoln so that it looked harmonious with the neighborhood, they were gonna do it sideways and push it up against one lot line, as I recall, run a driveway down the other side, and the whole backyard was parking. It was just a big
Yeah.
parking lot. And it was, so it was a project that really couldn't be done easily because of the parking requirements. Parking requirements stopped this project from happening.
Well, and maybe that's a good thing.
That's a possibility, but
Yeah,
it
unless-
reflects how our parking standards, affects the ability to create housing. I mean, if you believe that housing of a car is more important than housing of than people, then then that was a good thing.
Well, in my opinion, that's kind of a jump, that, housing, or the parking is more important than housing people. That's a little bit of a leap just because of this one instance. And I've read some of the stuff that you've sent, Grant, and I guess I'm not on that page yet. That gentleman is saying that, you don't need that our parking restrictions are our parking requirements are too strict, and we need to loosen them up, which may be the case, but I don't think we need to eliminate them and put it all on the street or someplace like that. And to me, there's no such thing as a free lunch. And to put parking on the street because I can't fit a triplex on a single-family lot or two-family lot, to me is not good logic. But at any rate, I'll continue to consider it, but I'll let you know right up front, I have a little bit of a problem with it. And that's good. Healthy, put it that way.
That it is.
Yep, it will be a interesting, healthy conversation, you know.
Fine.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to adjourn, I guess.
Well, we need to make a motion and to
Oh,
continue.
to continue I'll make a motion to continue this conversation after you meet with Bowling Green. How about that?
Just continue the conversation.
All right. Continue the conversation.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Aye.
All those in favor signify by say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The motion carries. All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned at 12:31.
Took 25 more minutes than I told city planning.
Well, we discussed other things other than just the cannabis issue. So, you got your butt covered, you got your.
Didn't do enough swinging fists.
Oh,
Good. Kick my ass before I try to leave town.
when you leaving?
Friday. Trying to hit high snow. I have a question for you, Mr. Pradania. Yeah. I didn't know you were a lefty.
Mm-hmm, I've been all my life. And
That explains a lot.
the nuns tried to change me and it didn't work.